paint the picture. You're a ninth grader boy. You're 14, 15 years old, and you're coming in an hour before your peers are to ask the teacher to show you what you didn't understand and what you're missing on the homework, knowing that you're going to fail that test, knowing that what's going to happen in class you're not going to understand, and then you're going to go to the next class and do it over and over and over again. And then knowing that you're going to skip your gym, and in middle school we had recess, and skip your recess to try to figure out what's going on and what's wrong to catch up to your peers because you're still getting 40s, to then go home and go to a tutor and then take that work from my tutor with my mom. And now it's 10 p.m. and I've already outworked all my peers and I'm still getting a 50. And I've got to show up to school tomorrow and be called the stupid kid. And I got to show up to school tomorrow and let the teacher tell me I need to work harder. And I got to show up to school tomorrow after all that and still have a smile on my face, still show up, still ask questions. Because if I don't, there's no way anybody will support me and allow me some leeway or help or pour into me so I can pass.
Thank you to our season sponsor, Mary's Alfajores. They are melt-in-your-mouth sweet treats. Alfajores are a South American traditional cultural pastry treat filled with manjar, a thick, creamy caramel made from milk and sugar spread, sandwiched by two delicious, soft and delicate cookies that in combination melt in your mouth. If you're looking to impress with some cultural variety in your dessert tray, reach out to Mary's Alfajores as they service the Westchester, Fairfield County area and are readily available for catered events. You can reach Mary's Alfajores on Instagram at Mary's Alfajores. Mary's Alfajores, crafted with love, inspired by tradition. Hi everyone, I am Esther, and welcome to the From the Ground Up with Esther podcast, a podcast about growth, resilience, faith, and building a life with intention. This space is for anyone who's starting over, rebuilding, or taking the next step, one story and one lesson at a time. Let's get into the conversation. Hi, Dylan.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. I'm happy to see you after a little while.
How are you?
I'm good. Doing very well. Yeah, happy.
Good. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. I know. It was a busy weekend, but I'm good. Yeah. So how is everything going in Florida?
It's great.
Yeah.
Living the dream.
Where in Florida are you again?
West Palm?
West Palm Beach.
Yeah. I'm loving it.
Nice. I have a friend actually that's moving there.
Yeah, it's been
too.
great. It was like a move that it wasn't exactly my choice, but I had to decide to take the opportunity.
Yeah.
And when I took it, it was kind of like the best choice I made for sure.
That's
Learning
great.
a lot, maturing a lot on my own.
Do you have family there? Friends?
I have family there, but they're around. I haven't actually hung out with family or friends since I got there. It's been a lot of work and personal development. Personal development.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What are you learning the most?
A lot about being on your own and having how life is as a full-on blown adult and what that looks like, and what at the end of the day when you move out of your parents' house, it's a big shift. Like I moved out of mom and dad's and it was like, okay, you're on your own, and my laundry, my house, if my house has something broken, I got to pay for it and hire somebody. If I have a problem, I've got to call someone. And I'm down there as an office manager of a hedge fund. So if something's wrong with the office, I got to deal with that too. And then I'm also doing appearances like this and writing books and speaking. So it was kind of like thrown in, and it's like you don't realize what you have until it's gone.
Yeah.
And then you move out and you're like, mom is in Connecticut, New York. I'm in Florida. Dad's in Virginia. I'm in Florida. My siblings are everywhere. And it's like, okay, so this is what the adult life looks like. But I can definitely say the move has made me transform and transition from a boy to a man and mature in a lot of ways and get a lot of perspective that I definitely needed.
It's really good. So proud of you.
Thank
You're
you.
adulting.
Yes.
Adulting 101.
Yes.
Finally. No, that's good. That's good. I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
We really need that.
Yeah.
Yeah. To grow, be responsible.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, I'm happy to have you here and happy to introduce you to my audience.
Thank you.
So they can get to know you. This is my friend Dylan Smith. He is I'm going to read his bio so you'll know a little bit more about him. He is a dynamic keynote speaker, dyslexia advocate, and motivational speaker dedicated to inspiring and educating people on overcoming adversity in business and personal challenges related to disabilities. With a passion for empowering others, Dylan draws from his experience in the corporate world and his own educational journey to connect deeply with his audience. Through his engaging storytelling, Dylan has a unique ability to bridge the gap between real life experiences and valuable lessons, making his presentations both impactful and memorable. This is Dylan. So, for those of us that are not familiar with dyslexia, is that
Yeah.
how you pronounce the word? Can you tell us a little bit more about that and more about you, how that
Yeah.
inspired your journey?
So, dyslexia is a learning disability where it's hard for you to be able to read, and you think with the creative side of your brain, but you're unable to actually comprehend and read when in big settings, like a social studies book. The
Mhm.
words will actually flip and fly across the pages, which makes you dizzy, frustrated, not
Mhm.
wanting to actually participate because it has actual effects on you. And then you're stuck in a class where kids are judging you, bullying you, calling you a stupid
Mm.
kid, and teachers are telling you to try harder. So it's a lot of misunderstanding. And I think that that experience for sure inspired me because I was able to graduate and overcome that. It inspired me to speak up for the masses who are going through that and are misunderstood or mistreated.
Wow. Okay. And how do you find out that you had that?
I was misdiagnosed with ADHD and I was on
Mhm.
Ritalin Concerta for 10 years. And then I got re-evaluated in 10th grade when I was 16, and we found out that I was dyslexia when I was reevaluated. So I had to learn my ABCs all over again as a 16-year-old and catch up to my peers from a sixth grade reading level.
Wow. So it was very tough for you growing up and the
Yes.
whole schooling and all of
Yeah.
it. Yeah, can you take me back to that a little bit more? How
Yeah.
was your school experience?
Paint the picture. You're a ninth grader boy. You're
Mm-hmm.
14, 15 years old, and you're coming in an hour before your peers are to ask the teacher to show you what you didn't understand and what you're missing on the homework, knowing that you're going to fail that test, knowing that what's going to happen in class you're not going to understand, and then you're going to go to the next class and do it over and over and over
Mm,
again, and then knowing that you're going to skip your gym, and in middle school we had recess and skip your recess to try to figure out what's going on and what's wrong to catch up to your peers because you're still getting 40s, to then go home and go to a tutor and then take that work from my tutor with my mom. And now it's 10 p.m. and I've already outworked all my peers and I'm still getting a 50. And I've got to show up to school tomorrow and be called the stupid kid. And I got to show up to school
mhm,
tomorrow and let the teacher tell me I need to work harder. And I got to show up to school tomorrow after all that and still have a smile on my face, still show up, still ask questions. Because if I don't, there's no way anybody will support me and
mhm.
allow me some leeway or help or pour into me so I can pass.
And you didn't find out the definition of this until you were 16 years
Yeah.
old? How was that moment? When was that? How did it happen?
We got the diagnosis, and me and my dad were standing in the driveway, and he said, "Hey, I'm willing to put money down to put you in tutoring, but are you willing to actually seriously do this?"
Mm,
And I remember telling him I'm willing to do whatever it takes to not be the stupid kid.
mhm. Wow.
And then that's when we started.
And so how old are you now?
25.
25. So after you realized that you had this dyslexia,
Yeah.
which is actually a superpower, I think, because a lot of successful people that I've seen online, some of them have that and now are
Yes.
doing great things. So from that moment, you were 16 years old. Is that when you decided that you wanted to pursue this path of empowering others, of resilience and
No.
showing?
Oh, great question. I had the idea of when I wanted to do it at 19, when I graduated high school and I built a running club and we ran 6 to 8 miles every night. And I would listen to motivational speeches and I would study those who I wanted to be like or those who inspired me.
Mhm.
And then I was like, I want to help people.
Who was the first person you helped?
First person I helped was my best friend James.
How do you help them?
Joined the running club. We built the running club together and we ran every night and talked about our dreams and our goals and we helped each other towards those.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so Dylan and I met at a personal development community called Warm Heart Life.
Yeah.
That's where I met Dylan. And there's a lot of people that are learning how to speak, right? And
Yes.
that's why I joined too, to speak, to get better public speaking and grow and all of it. And that's where I met Dylan. So so you wanted to help people, you helped your friend. When do you get involved with Warm Heart Life? How was that moment? Because I understand that after that, I'm maybe incorrect, but this is how I understand
Yeah.
that when you started working with Brandon or met him, that's when your career as because you're a public speaker.
Yeah.
Can you take me back to the
So I
beginning?
was 20 and I was working at a tech firm. And during the tech firm, I'd met a producer who had a studio called Royal Communications Center, and the executive producer of that studio was Carl Michelle.
Okay.
And I told him that I had dyslexia and that I was adopted twice and that I was working in tech as an intern and I wanted to help people, but I didn't know what that looked like. And that's when he took it upon himself to give me an opportunity to have a fully produced podcast in
Mhm.
his studio at 20. And I ended up doing that for a year. And that led to him meeting Brandon and speaking at Brandon's event. And I worked for him at that event because I was working for Carl in the studio to get my time because I didn't have money. So I was
Mm.
like doing studio projects or working for him or on the weekends going to events with him so I could get my studio time.
Mm.
I met Brandon and we hit it off. I sat in the front. I wrote notes all day on a Saturday as a 20-year-old kid, just wanting to learn, absorb, and connect. And I asked him, like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I have this podcast. This
Yeah.
is my story. I want to do this on a big level. And I know it takes a community and I'd love to learn from you. So then he's like, for sure. And at that time, we all went to Miami and we went to a big conference, and I was the only 19-year-old kid there out of everybody else. And that trip changed my life. It was when I didn't have money. I slept on a shelf in a
Mm.
hotel room because I couldn't afford a bed, and I stayed whoever I could. And I met Floyd Mayweather, and I did change my life forever from that moment on. And then I did speaker school. And after speaker school, Brandon gave me an opportunity to build A to B Con with him. So I spoke at the very first A to B Con, and then I went and had to build my own conference, which that was the Defying All Odds Day. And then after that, I carried on to build all of the A to B cons with Brandon, and I learned a bunch of lessons. I traveled a bunch, met a bunch of people. It really helped with my development as a young adult. And
Yeah.
then after that, I got some pretty cool news that I was signing to a media agency. And I went on tour for 2 years and sold out theaters with 2,000 plus people in the crowd,
Mm.
meeting with celebrities, being driven in limos, walking red carpets. And
Mhm.
it was beautiful because I was able to really paint the picture of what's possible as somebody who may have been adopted, who may have been counted out, who may have been misdiagnosed. And those speeches in front of those crowds, they were serious and they really seriously impacted people. And I was able to bring that back to my home school. When I brought back to my home school, I was able to touch the community that I came from, and that was extremely special.
Mm.
And then I moved to Florida and wrote a book, and now we're continuing.
Good. I remember you mentioning something before you left to Florida that you stopped doing the public speaking
Yes.
because you became the product. Like it's I think I don't know if that's the exactly
I
word
was
that you
became a poster child who was just being put on stages to put on stages. It wasn't like I was burnt out to an amount where I truthfully could not have actually given an impactful talk at the time.
Mhm. Yeah, and I thought about that after you said that because yes, your story is a story of resilience, and here on From the Ground Up with Esther, we talk about the story of how people are building something from the
Yeah.
ground up, and it takes a lot of resilience and growth and lessons and believing that you can do things when the world says that you can't and you
Yes.
believe. However, at the same time, because your story is yours and it's unique and you have a voice to speak, but then when you go into this media, the world, they make you, they don't, I think sometimes they start losing the person that you are and that you could be. And they focus only on say, your dyslexia.
It
And,
wasn't even that.
right?
They
It
were
was,
focusing on sponsors and tickets sold. That
yes.
was it.
On using that, I
Yeah.
guess that's what I mean, on using that to get these other things,
Yeah.
and then forgetting of who Dylan is, that you're not that,
Yes.
that you're more than that,
Yeah.
right? So that's what kept thinking about when you shared that with me. I was like, yeah, I mean, of course, I'll be the same,
Yeah.
because you kinda get buried under all those things.
Yeah.
Um, can you talk to those people that are probably also want to be speakers and they have a story to tell, but they still haven't gone that route and things like they will happen. Do you have a
Yeah.
message for them?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to become a speaker, go find somebody who has the results that you want and go learn from them. Ask them how they did it, what they did to get there, what they're doing to continue to stay there, what their actual motives are, what their
Mhm.
mission is. Like I learned any joke and get up in a sports coat and jump around on stage, but that's not going to change lives. Be up there with intention, be up there with preparation, be there for a reason and more than just a sale. Like I think a lot of people go wrong when they get on stage to sell something. When you get on stage to cultivate an audience, there's no selling needed. You're there to cultivate an audience. Everything else is secondary. I think a lot of people get that confused,
Mhm.
and it's about what you are there for. And if you're there to sell, most times you're at the wrong place because at many stages I've been on, the number one rule is don't sell from stage. So the big thing is to connect with people because that's what we are. We're humans. We're here to connect with one another. We're here to impact one another. We're here to learn from one another. There's something that I can always learn from you or Olivia, and there's something you guys can always learn from me, no matter if we were 12 right now or we were 40.
Yeah.
No matter what, we all have different perspectives. And I think that the most important thing I learned was listen. I was in Chicago with my first, I was with a branch manager of Oppenheimer, an investment bank on Wall Street. And I said, what's one thing you can teach me that I can carry for the rest of my career that will help me be successful in general and in this industry? And he said, listen, and don't talk to be heard. Don't talk to listen to yourself talk. Listen, absorb, reflect, prepare questions, and come back. So then you can really take an opportunity to have a
Yeah.
conversation. To have a conversation is just that. But if you want to dig deep and open up new sides of your brain and become a new version of yourself, or maybe future opportunities, I think listen and absorb is the best. Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. And from those years that you were speaking, what is one moment or one of those events that you went to that you felt you touched the most people, or maybe one person that came back to you and say, you helped me on this?
I have countless. I've had somebody come to me and say they didn't commit suicide because of a talk I
Mhm.
gave. I've had my hometown on their feet crying after a speech I gave, which was very special. I've had, I think, a very impactful thing was when I was able to share a stage with my father on tour, and it was a big stage, and he got to realize it kind of in the moment. We were sitting next to each other like this, and he's looking at me, and he's looking at the crowd, and he's looking at the pyro on the screen. He's like, "Wow, like I'm on stage with my son right now," and that was a really
Mhm.
special moment.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah. And since you mentioned your dad,
yeah,
I know you have mentioned right now that you were adopted.
yes,
Are you able to share a little bit of that with us and how that has, what has taught you, how that affected you or not?
yeah.
And yeah.
For sure. I was adopted in 2003 from Russia with my now mother and a different father at the time who was an alcoholic who didn't support or anything and taught us. I think honestly, I'm grateful because he taught me the power of absence,
Absence.
of
Mm.
absence. How impactful it can be to not be somewhere, especially in a young kid's life. And my second adoptive father, who I had on stage, had taught me the power of being present. And we always make the joke that, have you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad? We say that in personal development space. And I'm like, I lived it. I had an alcoholic father who was on food stamps, and I was adopted by a successful man who's taught me my integrity and how to carry yourself as a man, how to treat people, and how to be
Yeah.
professional, and how to be empathetic, and how to show up, and what showing up really means, and what it looks like, and why it matters. I think that I wouldn't change for the world because of I'm now having the perspective and have become who I am because of it, and I'm able to help people because of it as well.
Hmm. Yeah, that's great because, yes, absence is such a powerful thing, especially father figures.
Yeah,
The father, I always talk about this on the stories sometimes when the topic comes up of fatherhood, and it plays such a role in kids' lives
yeah,
because it actually shapes who you are, how you receive love, how you give love, how you treat people. So it's interesting how you didn't have that and then you had it.
yeah,
So it kind of reversed, I guess, or
yes.
that is such a blessing.
It was a
Yeah.
blessing.
And healing too.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. Because it heals those parts that you didn't know
Yes,
existed.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I like that.
Yeah,
So you have a twin brother.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice, nice. Yeah. And can you now there are people that are listening that don't know, like I said at the beginning, more about dyslexia. You mentioned something of the brain, the right, the left. Can you go a little bit i- i- into that? How
a
does
bit. I am not an expert on actually dyslexia. I
okay.
am an expert on living with it,
Mm.
but in my experience, we think creatively. So you have, in my experience of being in schools, I've had to think outside of the box to survive academically speaking. And where that has flipped is I was leaning and building muscles I didn't know I was building at the time, where you're coming in early and you're connecting with your teachers and you're telling them I need help and you're making them laugh and you're showing them personality. Very young age, that's networking. I was networking, I didn't know it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of blessings in the journey and who you become on it. And I think that dyslexia is just it's not even a disability, it's just a different wire of way of reading. Like I can write an email and I can read it 4 or 5 times and it looks good, and then I send it and I look at it an hour later and I'm like, that's not English. So that is something that I still struggle with. But I think the thing about dyslexia that I've found so enjoying is I've been able to show people how it doesn't have to control you and how you can use it as a tool, not a crutch, a
Mm-hmm.
tool, and you can really leverage it to help a lot of people.
Okay. And now you have written a book.
Yes.
Can you talk to us a little bit about your book?
Yes. So the book is The Words Are Backwards. You're Not. Dyslexia is Your
It's right
Superpower.
here. Wait,
And
this
yes.
way.
And it has been able to teach me a lot, just the
Mm-hmm.
process of it coming out and what it means to me. And this is actually the title of a keynote I gave at my home school. So it was very powerful for me. And I think that the title to me means a lot just because it's something I felt. And I know a lot of kids with dyslexia feel like nothing's going right. I can't get these grades right. I'm putting all this time in. I'm going to my tutor and it's still not working. I'm still getting those 50s. I'm still stupid. The teacher's still telling me to try harder, and making sure that those kids know those words on the paper may be backwards, but you're not, you
Mm-hmm.
know? That's not going to define you. That doesn't show where you're limiting. That is not who you are. It is just something you struggle with.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's been beautifully received. I've gotten amazing feedback, and I'm excited to continue promoting it and helping people with it.
Great. And
Yeah.
how long did it take you to write the book? Was it a challenge for you?
I had an awesome team behind it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with Write a Legacy, and they adapted and very flexible with my requests, but this was not the original book. 3 years ago, the book per se process started,
Mm-hmm.
and it was Defying All Odds. It was a completely different book, and
How different?
it wasn't even the same story. It was about how defying all the odds, how I defied all the odds in certain chapters of my life, and it had like no. I'd love to find the transcripts. It had no depth. It had no real impact. It was just things that I thought I was learning and things that I thought would be impactful. But there's like motivational snippets of things that I took and ran with. So I think this is much more impactful.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good. I
yeah,
guess it was worth the.
sure.
Yeah.
I think this and a bunch of things that I wanted that I have now, but I wanted when I was younger, has taught me that when it comes, you're ready, and when you want it, you're probably not ready.
Mm-hmm.
Because you want
Yeah.
it because you found out about it, not because you're ready,
Yeah.
and to understand the difference.
Yeah. That's usually how it is
Yeah,
with life. When
exactly.
you want something, you're not having it for a reason.
Yes,
Yeah. So you have to wait until it comes to you.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. So the name of the podcast is called From the Ground Up with Esther. And I
Yes.
always ask this question: what does it mean for you from the ground up? Does it have a definition for you?
Yeah, from the ground up, what that means to me, what the definition looks like is Dylan's story of the ground up is a 19-year-old kid who wants to make the people he loves proud, wants to help the masses, wants to inspire himself and those around him. He wants to uplift everybody like a rising tide. I think that the ground up, I think it's funny because I'm 6 years in and it feels like I've been in here for 16 years. But the beautiful start is everybody keeps telling me that you're just getting started. And I know I am. I'm only 25, but it's been
Yeah.
such a cool journey. And somebody had recently asked me, they said, "Hey, if you just did the Tech Wall Street thing, what would be different?" And I'd be like, I'd be way richer, way
Mm,
richer. Because to chase your dreams is probably the most expensive thing you can choose to do. And they said, "Oh, so do you regret it?" And I said, "Absolutely not. I'd be a quarter of the man that I am today." And I'd have 0.001% of the friends and community that I do. So if you want to chase your dreams and start from the ground up, know that it's the best decision you could ever make. And I'm sure
mhm.
you've learned that. You've learned a bunch of
Yeah.
lessons this last year.
Yeah. It's a learning journey.
Yes,
Yeah, we all learn so much from ourselves just by doing things.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. And I kind of want to go back to the part that you said you were doing the speaking for 2 years and now, you moved. What is next for you and how are you going about now giving those, speeches when you go to speak?
Yeah.
Are you still planning to do those things? How has Dylan decided to move forward after the lessons you learned this
I'm going to
couple
be way
years?
more people focused, impact focused, community focused, mission focused. There are stages pending in the background for sure. There are conversations I'm having getting me on stages, and I'm happy to come back with the right intention, and I'm happy to be back on the stage with the right mission. I learned that having quality over quantity is much more valuable. Going on 6, 7 stages a year and being burnt out is not as valuable as going on one and giving a speech that changes thousands of lives.
Mhm. Is there one of those speeches that you gave that you felt like you shouldn't have gone and that you regretted, or you didn't regret any?
I don't regret anything that I've ever
Mhm.
done. I think like there's too much. I don't regret and I don't hold grudges because there's too much negative energy and takes too much from you.
Mhm.
I'm very I take everything as an opportunity to learn and I absorb it and I try to become a better version of myself through it. So every time I show up, I know I'm showing up and I'm going to take something from it. So
Mhm.
whether that's a lesson, a connection, a speech, a snippet, a live impact, a conversation after
Yeah.
that
Mhm. And is there something you will do differently?
moving forward, I want to really push heavy on the dyslexia in the book, but I really wanna push heavy to the young 19 to 24-year-olds because I think the most valuable lesson I learned is I don't know where we get it, I think it's the internet where it's kinda skewed, but thinking you have to have the suit, the watch, the car, the carpet,
Mhm.
the lights, the pyro, for people to take you seriously, and
Mhm.
it's true to an extent, but the wrong people take you seriously,
Mhm.
and to be you, and
Yeah.
that's okay, because 'cause you're enough as you. I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned is being you is enough, and it's more than enough, and
Yeah.
actually, when you choose to do something you think you have to versus who you are, it dilutes who you are in the process
Mm.
anyways. So
Yeah.
it's the opposite effect that you're trying.
Mhm.
So that is what the speaking taught me in a lot of ways, and I'm excited, I'm starting my mentor business back up, and I'm really gonna be hard. Yeah.
Yeah. And since you mentioned about, how social media presents
Yeah.
sometimes I do see that you go on these trips and you're always posting these things, and it could give that, I guess, what you said, image
Yeah.
that you might not want, right?
Yeah.
Who is Dylan? For those that don't know you, for like I know you not just from Instagram,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, tell us a little bit more. You already did a little bit, but a little bit more. Who's Dylan for someone that only knows Dylan from Instagram?
Dylan is a kid who cares
Mhm.
deeply. Dylan is somebody whose forefront is how can I maximize this? So if I get an opportunity, how can I make all of my friends win and benefit
Mm,
from this opportunity? Even if it was a Dylan opportunity,
mm,
how can everybody win from it? How can
mhm,
everybody get a lesson from it? How can everybody elevate from it? How can we all get something from this and help one another in the experience? How can
mhm.
we all learn in this experience? I think the hardest thing I've ever done is care, ever. And the more that I care, the more that I know that how important it is. So Dylan is somebody who cares and always will go above and beyond to make sure the people around him are supported and he's giving people opportunities. Because I'm a selfish person.
Selfish.
Selfish. I
Okay.
help people because I enjoy helping people.
You're selfless, you mean?
Selfish.
Selfish?
I'm
Okay.
selfish and selfless. I do it because I enjoy it.
Okay, okay.
And the selfless
Okay.
part is that I'm doing it.
Yeah,
But
okay.
I do it
You do it for yourself because
because I
you
enjoy doing
enjoy.
it.
Do you enjoy the recognition or
No, I don't need the recognition. Here's the thing is I have a couple of friends that I've been able to, champion their careers, and the only thing I've ever asked for is to be able to witness. I just wanna watch, and I don't even
Mhm.
have to be there. Like, if you allow me to help you build, A to B,
Mhm.
just all I ask is let me watch you live what you deserve, and that's all I've ever wanted. I
Mhm.
think that I'm more passionate if you get to know me and you, like, have conversations with me, I'm usually talking about my friends and their
Mhm.
wins and what they're doing because 'cause I'm excited about their wins more than I am mine. When my friends win, that's a win for me, and if I
Mhm.
was able to be a part of it in any way, I'm ecstatic.
Yeah. Is there someone that comes to mind that you can share publicly or
There's
no?
a couple people, Anthony Ramo, I've been helping a lot, and I've been watching him transform. Olivia DeStefano is a close friend. She's transformed in a lot of ways. Shayna Pell, you know what it is? Is when you help your friends and they transform, and then you're proud of who they become,
Mm,
and you know that you're a part of that.
mhm.
That's a very big passion of mine.
I can see the selfish definition
Yeah.
in a way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. That's good. And yeah, you push people out of their comfort zone, I
Yes.
guess. Yeah. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Is there a message you would like to give someone that's listening to this and is going through what you went through? Maybe a younger person or someone that has a family member with dyslexia that doesn't know how to help them.
Yeah. Speak up. The first thing you have to do is speak up. No one knows you're hurting or suffering without you saying anything.
Mm.
Second thing is saying what you think it is and asking for help. I think a lot of people have a lot of really hard time asking for help, which is such a odd concept to me. I ask and I'm very vulnerable with hey, I don't know what's going on here. Can I have help? Can I learn? Can I absorb? ask for help, and I think a lot of people, especially me as a young kid and young men, I'll say, it is Men's Mental Health Month,
Mm-hmm.
and me and my friends have been talking about it, and the concept of men's mental health is so crazy to me because I haven't seen many, when things happen in the world, like, I've seen more about the Knicks than I have men's mental health, and that concept to me is crazy because there are more men suffer from mental health and thinking that, "Oh, I need to be X, Y, and Z to be appreciated, loved, and supported," when a lot of people, all they need is invited to dinner, invited
Mm-hmm.
out, a phone call, a
Yeah.
text. If you know me, you know that I send a bunch of gratitude texts. I'm annoying because I send a gratitude text out of nowhere, but you have no idea the impact. And I'm always somebody who I want people to know that you can call. So if you have dyslexia or you're struggling as a young adult or a young man, you are enough with who you are as is. And if you have friends, call them. If you have
Mm-hmm.
family, call them and be vulnerable, be honest. Because
Yeah.
when we learn what you're going through, then we can help. And there's no shame. I think that probably the most transformational thing to do was drop my pride, my ego.
To drop.
Yeah. Because you're
Okay.
protecting yourself from blessings out of fear that people are going to judge you for not being strong.
Yeah. Why do you think men think like that? Because it's a lot of men don't speak up. We women like to talk and we call our friends and we're having like a 3 hour conversation, right? Even if
Yeah.
I don't know Olivia that well, but I'm gonna call her, hey, I'm going through this. I'm sure we're gonna have like what happened? Like tell me all of
Yeah.
it, you know? Why do you think men go through that? Why are you guys like this?
The D,
What are you talking?
I think I think our default setting is to just kind of push it down and keep moving.
Is it because you think you're supposed to be strong because you're a man?
Subconscious.
And you're
Sure.
just that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because every guy here, when you talk about these things, and
Yeah.
yeah, we don't talk about things.
I'll say this publicly, the scariest thing that I experienced last year, it was terrifying, is I experienced depression for the very first time, and
Mm.
I experienced burnout at a max. Like, I was at my lowest, and I smiled every day, and that was terrifying. Because then I was looking around going, "How many of these smiles are real?" When you look around, and you know how they say always check on the happy friend?
Yes, yes.
Definitely. I was pouring into people and giving people joy and energy when I was so depressed and so burnt out.
Yeah.
And no one knew it. So always check on everyone, even if they're smiling. And I think that was my biggest perspective is that was the fakest smile I've ever put on and no one knew.
That is true. There's so many, if you see online, a lot of people that were comedians,
Yes.
Miss Universe, they committed suicide because they were so alone
Yeah.
and people thought they were so happy.
Yeah.
Was it what? No, I feel like I want to ask more questions
Yeah,
now.
go ahead.
The depression because you're now a public figure. You build a personal brand online
Yeah.
that's big. You go I see you in podcasts all the time. So was it you felt lonely? Why do you think the depression hit? Were your friends there? You felt like they thought because for me, a lot of my friends, even I'm just doing this for a year, and I had conversations with friends that some of them have stopped texting me, calling me, from before. And I'm like, why are you not texting me, calling me? Like, I'm still here. Like,
Yeah.
no, we think you're so busy. You're so happy. You're meeting all these new people. And tell them, no, you got to still call me. You got to
Yeah.
still text me. I still need you as my
Yeah.
friend. Right. Has that happened to you where people think, no, he's fine. I don't need to. And like, you felt maybe lonely?
I don't know if I felt lonely. People definitely don't call me. At that time, for sure, people didn't call me. I had a couple friends that were always in my corner
Hmm.
and would answer the phone and I could be vulnerable with, but I'll be honest, nobody other than very select few as of this last year. Before this last year, no one called and checked on me ever, ever. And I became somebody everybody else leaned on. And I'm happy for people to lean on me. I really am. That's my passion. But I think that the scariest part was how fake that smile was. And it made me look at everything much differently. Like, how many smiles are real? Which is why I walk in every room with such great energy. And I'm like, happy Monday, whatever day it is, happy because you don't know what somebody's going through.
Yeah.
And you don't know the smallest thing to me could be the biggest thing to you.
Yeah. That's true. I always think of this, even when I heard one of her friends like did comedy, like I was thinking at that moment because I thought of these other comedian that passed away. So every time I see a comedian, I wonder if this person is really happy or if they're trying to just, make people laugh, but they're so depressed or so lonely. So I always think of that too,
Yeah.
because it is real and you have to be aware what people are probably going through, right?
Yeah.
That's why I, I I understand what you're talking about. Yeah, thanks for sharing your
Of
experience.
course.
Yeah. And I want to go on the personal brand thing
Yeah.
for people that are trying to build something online. How is it to build a personal brand for yourself after you've gone to public? How does that work? What are the boundaries that you have for yourself? And what are the steps that someone can take to build a personal brand?
I think the steps you could take for a personal brand is find what your passion is and find what really fuels you, because if you're chasing something that isn't you and isn't fueling you, it's not gonna
Hmm.
work. There's no way, because then you'll get burnt out like that, and
Yeah.
that's when burnout happens. I think the if you're gonna build a personal brand, you have to do it with intention, and you have to show up in rooms that you think won't change anything, and you have to pour into
Mm,
people, and you have to make connections. And building a personal brand online, funny enough, has nothing to do with online. It has nothing to do with online.
yeah.
It has everything to do with how you show up in person, what events you choose to go to, what people you
Hmm.
choose to talk to, how you choose to show up for those people, how you choose to listen, how you choose to pour into people. It has Online is just usually a highlight reel, which
Hmm.
is not always incredibly accurate.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. I agree. You have to build community out of there. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing.
Absolutely.
And for people to find you, can you tell us your
Yeah.
where
Uh,
can they find you? About
dsfordyslexia.com. You can email me at dylan@dsfordyslexia.com. On Instagram, I'm dsfordyslexia19, and or you can Google Dylan Smith Dyslexia, and everything will come right up.
and your book is there.
Yes, my book is on my website. It's also found on Amazon.
What's it called again?
The words are backwards. You're not. Dyslexia is your superpower.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Absolutely.
Is there a message you would like to give us before we wrap up? That
Yeah.
comes to mind?
Sure. If you are a young adult who wants to chase their dreams or has a career or ambition, the number one thing that I was ever given that changed my life is show up no matter what and treat people better than you expect to be treated. Always. And expect nothing in return when you give. And be genuine, be authentic, and be there to pour into people. Never go anywhere with the intention of taking anything.
Good. Good message.
Thank you.
So nice to have you, Dylan. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for being here. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
And I wish you all the best as you move forward with all these other plans and new strategies to keep growing your future.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
It's a
And
pleasure
thank you,
being
of course. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope that you like this conversation. Please don't forget to subscribe, follow on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and Instagram. You can find it from the ground up with Esther. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. And I will see you on the next episode. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please like, follow, subscribe, and leave us a review as your feedback continues to help us grow this podcast. If you have any questions or would like to connect, we are on Instagram at From the Ground Up with Esther, or you can email us at esthermoscoso.pod@gmail.com. And as always, thank you to our show sponsor, Mary's Alfajores, delicious sweet treats that melt in your mouth. I will see you on the next episode.